Hey guys, Hayden here again from Alarm System Store, and today I'm going to be going over a couple new products we've added to our website. Pretty neat little things from Alarm.com that released recently. This Smart Chime's been out for a little while actually, but this is Alarm.com's Smart Chime. It is basically a doorbell chime for Alarm.com doorbells, a wireless chime, and a Wi-Fi signal booster for Alarm.com devices. So kind of a two-in-one unit. It's kind of neat. And the reason I'm showcasing these two items together is because this unit, the VDB780B, actually requires the use of the Wi-Fi connection for this smart chime. So we'll get into that in a few minutes, but basically we're going to be going over both of these. I'm going to open them both up and show you what it looks like and how it would work. We're not going to do anything too technical in this video. I'm just going to kind of go over some specs for them and introduce the product. So let's get started. All right, so the first unit that we're going to be looking at is this one. This is the ADC-W115C, and it's called a Smart Chime. And basically, it is a wireless doorbell chime for Alarm.com cameras, as I mentioned. It doubles as a Wi-Fi signal booster, allowing you to connect multiple Wi-Fi Alarm.com devices to it to basically prioritize bandwidth to those devices. Pretty neat how it works, but let's go ahead and pop it open and we'll take a look at what is inside. So the first thing we got here is a sticker for the unit itself. If you're familiar with Alarm.com Wi-Fi devices, you'll see that in every box. It's basically the MAC address and the Wi-Fi password for this unit, so make sure you don't lose that. And then we have an instruction manual here, not too long, pretty big pictures, that's what we like to see. And here is the unit itself. And make sure there's nothing else in the box. We're good. All right, so here is the unit itself. Not a whole lot to it. It's basically just a plug-in device. You will need to enroll this on your Alarm.com account to allow other Alarm.com devices to connect to it. But as you can see, it's got a pretty decent speaker hole there. We have some LEDs that give status indication. We'll go over those in a second. Here is your WPS button, as well as a reset button there. And other than that, there's not much else to it. If you'll notice there, the prongs are the same size, so you can plug this in facing up, or if needed, or if your socket's kind of loose and it keeps falling out, you can flip it over, stick it like this, and flip the antennas up, and that will allow you all the weight to be at the bottom, so it's not going to try to pull itself out of that outlet. So going over the specs for this device, it runs on 120 volts AC, obviously, and operates on the 2.4 gigahertz frequency for Wi-Fi. Has WPA2 level security on that Wi-Fi there, and you have some LED indicators, and we'll go over those now. This first one on the left is a power indicator, so it shows if it's powered on or not. That would indicate whether the outlet is providing sufficient power or not. The second LED is for your internet connection, so that'll be flashing or off if there is no connection, and it will be solid lit if there is a full internet connection. The third one is the chime connected LED, and that just means if you have tied your video doorbell to this device, then anytime you press the button on that video doorbell, it will chime out of here. So you'll want to see that LED lit if you are looking to have this operate the chime. And this last LED is for the WPS. So you'll use that to know when it is in WPS mode and when it has been connected. And not a whole lot else to mention about this thing. It's pretty straightforward. I don't know how well it extends and prioritizes signal for Alarm.com devices, but just judging by the other gateways that they have, I would say it can improve your bandwidth quite a bit, especially when live viewing or recording multiple clips back to back in high resolution. So But yeah, that's, like I said, ADC Smart Chime W115C. So if you're interested, by all means, check it out on our website, alarmsystemstore.com. And let's move on to the next device. So the next thing we have here is the VDB780B. And this is Alarm.com's newest doorbell, and it is a completely wireless doorbell. So it actually is battery powered. It does have two-way audio, and says it has energy saver analytics. Now, I don't know exactly what that means, but I'm assuming it basically allows video analytics at a lower power consumption rate, because video analytics basically runs additional programming on the unit. So if they've cut down on that, it could save battery life. So as I was saying before, one of the biggest drawbacks, or probably the biggest drawback to this video doorbell, is that it requires the use of this W115C. And that is because the Wi-Fi signal that it has to connect to is the one out of this unit. I don't know exactly why that is. I can't find any documentation to tell me exactly why. Maybe they just designed it that way. But regardless of the reason, just know that if you are looking to get this wireless doorbell, you will need the ADC Smart Chime as well. I think we may be running a promotion for both items together on our site in the near future, so keep an eye out for that if you're interested in this. But anyway, let's go ahead and pop this open and we'll take a look. Alright, so get her open here. And again, we have our nice little manual. Actually, this is not a manual. It's just a page with QR code. We'll go ahead and scan that real quick just to take a look. Okay, so yeah, basically all I'm seeing here is just the install manual. I don't see any other documents on this particular link. And it doesn't seem to take me anywhere else. So yeah, just an install manual. So the first item we have here is going to be the charging cable. Looks like USB-A to micro USB. So you may actually have some of these cords laying around. I know a lot of Android phones use that charger. So I'm sure you could charge it using different ones. Basically, it just needs 5 volts at 1.5 amps. So you can plug this into your computer. You can plug it into like a regular phone charger. I would make sure that it's at least 5 volts, but anything higher than that shouldn't hurt. So up next is the mounting hardware. These are for the camera itself. These are for mounting it to the wall, or mounting the back plate to the wall, I guess. So we'll set those to the side, and this is our back plate for the unit itself. So when I get this out, you'll see, but it basically slides down on here, and this actually has a locking mechanism on the bottom that slides back and forth to allow you to screw in this screw and keep it held in place. So that's pretty neat. And we have a 10-degree tilt wedge, so if needed, you can tilt the unit down or flip this over and tilt it up to give you the right viewing angle for your porch. Generally, you'd be pointing down steps, but depending on your setup, you may have to play with it. I do not believe they have any other wedges made for this device quite yet. I'm sure they will have a wedge pack in the future like they do for other cameras, but for now, 10 degrees is all we get. On that note, the camera itself does have a 160-degree horizontal and 90-degree vertical viewing area. So if you can imagine 160 degrees, without taking this out, that is going to be the majority of its viewing angle horizontally. And then this way, you basically get a 90-degree straight out of the front of the camera. So it can see pretty high up and down, but if needed, you can always add that 10-degree tilt just to give it a little bit of extra. So let's take a look at the unit itself. It's got a little bit of power, it seems like. Yep. And up here we have our camera. Looks like the microphone and the speaker out. and it is wrapped in nice plastic to keep it, nice and clean. We'll leave that on there. And down here is actually the battery pack. Let me see if I can get this pulled out. So this is all there really is to the camera. It's just these two pieces. If you'll see on the camera side, we have our contacts where the battery makes connection here. We do have an SD card slot. Now, I asked Alarm.com what that was for, and they said nothing currently. And the reason for that is that this is a battery-powered device. So what you would normally use SD cards for on Alarm.com cameras is for onboard recording, but because this is battery operated, it cannot support onboard recording because it would drain the battery significantly. So maybe they'll add some functionality to that SD card in the future. I'm not sure why it's there currently, but it is what it is. Out of sight, out of mind. So, but yeah, that's the whole camera itself. And looking at the battery itself, we can see it's got a nice little piece of tape there to keep the contacts from draining the battery on the way to you. We have our charge port for our cord there, and this looks like an LED indicator for charge status. And surprisingly enough, these are actually supposed to last around 6 months during normal use. Obviously, that's subject to usage factors as well as environmental factors, heat and cold on the battery itself. Sometimes that can discharge batteries faster than they're meant to, but charging time for this is only 7 hours. So every 6 months or so, you'll have to pop this out, plug it into the charger, let it charge up for 7 to 8 hours, and plug it back in. So there will be a chunk one day every 6 months where you'll have to charge this up. They don't make any backup batteries or extra batteries for this unit yet. I'm sure they'll come out with one in the future because I don't see why not, but currently they are not available. So just taking a look at how this would be mounted. Let's get this out of the way. So like I said, here's your back plate. And if we look on the back of this unit here, we have little catch prongs, and those are going to slide right in there and pop down. Now when it pops down, this little tab catches on the edge to keep it from falling out, and that's what this lock actually locks. So when this is pulled apart, it allows, or when this is pulled to the side, it basically just scoots a little piece of plastic over to keep that prong from being released. And whenever you need to take it off, you slide this to the middle, and then you can pull this back just a little bit, and the unit will pop out like that. So just to see what it would look like all together, go ahead and stick it in there and pop this on, lock that in place, and you can screw that down so that it actually doesn't get unlocked accidentally, just from playing around with it or whatever. So a couple little handy features there just to make sure it doesn't fall. Obviously this part's going to be mounted to the wall or to this bracket here, but that's basically the whole doorbell, and that's what it would look like sitting by your front door. So pretty neat little units. I think this is super cool. It's been a while since Alarm.com came out with their VDB780, which was a wired Alarm.com doorbell. A lot of the ones from, well, all the ones from before that were SkyTech doorbells, and they were fine for doorbells, but Alarm.com decided to start making their own, and this is what they came up with. This is the completely wireless version, and the 770 is the wired model. So depending on what you're looking to do and how you want it hooked up, if you're kind of old school and you like the hardwired stuff, get the 770. It's actually quite a bit cheaper than this unit as well. This one, I'm assuming a lot of the cost is from the battery pack itself. It doesn't say what type of battery it is on their little data sheet here, but it does say it's a 9540 milliamp hour battery, so should last, like I said, close to 6 months or so. I do kind of wish they said what type of battery it is, because there are some batteries, if you leave them on the charger for too long, it can actually ruin your battery life, and it's good to know that kind of stuff. I don't imagine this would be a LiPo battery, which are the most common that get discharged from overcharging, but I guess we will just have to see how it goes just in practical use. So anyway, yeah, so we got our W115C Smart Chime and the VDB780B. These are both listed on alarmsystemstore.com now, so you can go check those out if you want. We have the full data sheet listed as well as the installation manual for both devices, so feel free to peruse the site and check out the info we have with it. Quick disclaimer before I go, both of these units do require the use of an Alarm.com video plan. So if you don't have Alarm.com, you can also check that out on our site if you want, just see what their plan levels are, see what kind of stuff they offer. If you're under another service provider, unfortunately you will not be able to use these. You could, in theory, set up an Alarm.com video plan on its own to be able to use this stuff. There is also a single doorbell add-on plan that allows you to add one doorbell camera to an interactive service. So if you have an alarm system that has an app that you can control the system with, but you don't have any cameras and you just want a doorbell, you can add that on just as the doorbell service itself. So outside of that, there's nothing really else to say. These units are pretty straightforward for the most part. As you can tell, there's not a whole lot of pieces to them. And we may come back and do an enrollment video for these, but Alarm.com makes it very, very easy to enroll new devices as well as adjust settings on them. So I don't think anybody would have too much trouble with it. But if you're looking for these, I think, don't quote me on these numbers, I didn't pull them before the video, but I believe this is going to be around $280 for the VDB780B, and the doorbell chime is, I believe, upwards of $80 to $90. It may be a little bit lower than that. I'm kind of shooting high just in case, but yeah, so anyway, like I said, we may run a promotion for both of these units together, so you might keep an eye out for that if you're looking at getting this wireless doorbell. And yeah, so that's it for me today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. These are pretty neat little Alarm.com products. I like the stuff they come out with. It can get a little pricey sometimes, but that is unfortunately just the way it goes nowadays. But anyway, yeah, let me know what you guys thought. If you think these are cool, give me a comment down below. Let me know what's up. And if you could, like and subscribe. It helps our channel a lot. It helps us keep putting out videos. And hopefully we're going to be doing more product reveal related stuff in the near future. I have some other ideas as well, but I'd like to kind of introduce some of the more recent items that we've added to our site, because a lot of these things are just pretty cool. I mean, everybody out there, Ring and all them, you know, cheaper security companies have wireless doorbells, and this is the first Alarm.com one that was actually made by Alarm.com. I do believe they had a couple Skybell doorbell cameras that were wireless like this, but this is the first all Alarm.com one that supports their video analytics. So like I said, let me know what you guys thought, like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next one.